my favourite probably piece of the whole Agile Manifesto is we welcome change requests. But I know what welcoming is.
Yeah.
Hi! Hey, come on in. Oh, no, sit there. Do you know what? I'm ordering some Uber Eats. Let me get you some lunch, or whatever.
Yeah.
That's welcoming.
Oh, yeah.
Change requests.
That would be very welcoming. So you're doing that kind of process for your change requests. Hello, I'm Chris Lissaman, and welcome to Sparks, a series by Interactive Workshops. In each episode, we talk about something else we can spark in work and life. From how to spark motivation, to how to spark flexible working, to how to spark office snacks, so they always have the fuel to do the good work that you want to do.
Get me some Hello Kitty sweets.
Take a snap break, have those sweets.
We need that. Chris.
Spark it.
Spark it.
There we go. Take that snap break. Take us with you. Put headphones on, or come back in a moment. We'll still be here.
We'll still be here. It's great to be here as well.
It is great to be here. Welcome back, Jonna.
Oh, thank you very much, Chris. I'm actually really enjoying the evolution of our vodcast.
Oh, yeah.
Video.
We've evolved.
I'm learning along the way, and I'm keen to find out how to be better. I know I review the episodes, I listen to them, I work out what I think's good. I noticed that you're an incredibly professional communicator, and I want to step up my game.
Oh, well, thank you, Jonna. I learn a lot from you.
But I'm also very keen in the comments section to see what people think, how we can improve, and how we can be better at what we do.
Absolutely, and it's a good time to say, leave a little comment below, drop us a little like button down below. We love seeing those comments, we respond to them, and your likes and reviews as well.
All one or two of them.
It all helps us.
It helps
one
us.
or two help in the algorithm, so thank you for doing that. This week, we're discussing how to spark agility. So we're going to discuss the principles of Agile, how to be more agile, whether we do even want to do that. Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? And the secret to agility for our teams and organizations as well.
Yeah. Is it
Maybe
a
few
secret?
secrets.
I mean, we have written a book, The Agile Secret.
You have written a book, Jonna. You are the author of this book.
I wrote a book. Yeah, I wrote a book. 2 weeks, 5 afternoons, writing.
Wow.
Done.
And then done.
Shipped. Done.
Wow. Well, we'll get on to...
But that, as you can see, is quite thin. It's an incredibly thin
minimum viable book.
And then inside, lots of pictures.
Oh, people love pictures, though.
Yeah. So I didn't have to put in too much words. And also, I cheated because I wrote the book about the Agile Manifesto. So I didn't have to come up with any ideas.
And the manifesto already existed.
The manifesto was already there. That was my framework. So, yeah. I mean,
You're the expert.
It was a shortcut, really. I wrote it in an agile way.
There we go. We're talking to a book writer on the topic of Agile. We can't say that about many of the topics.
No, but I just wish I was Alistair Coburn. Do you follow him on LinkedIn?
Oh, no, I don't. Should I?
You definitely should. He's one of the founders of Agile.
Right.
And he used to work at IBM, and he was one of the only people whose projects were delivered on time. And he then pioneered the Agile methodology. He was the person that organized the conference or the meetup of people in technology that got together and wrote the Agile Manifesto.
Right.
He's one of the co-organizers of that event.
Right.
And he's got really crazy hair.
So sounds like what you're saying is that Agile had an origin. It's not just another word for efficiency, productivity, and that there was something that was fairly recently born, an idea.
Recently, as early as the early 2000s. But I think the business has grasped onto the Agile as a thing in the same way that project management is now a thing, or HR is a thing, or waterfall methodology is a thing, or employee engagement is a thing. Agile now is a thing. It means something. And that's what we're here to spark, more agility.
Yeah. And I think at Interactive Workshops, we've talked about culture, and Agile is part of the culture here. It's the way we work. Is that completely deliberate and intentional from you?
I wanted to ask you whether, because I think you might be more of an expert in Agile than me, because I talk about it, but you live it.
I live it. I've implemented it. And yeah, the teams that I've run.
Implement, download. Chris is now Agile.
I read the book.
You're a disciple. You're a convert of it.
Yes, I'm a disciple, a convert, an evangelist maybe.
An evangelist of agility.
When teams take on an Agile way of working. I do believe it is more than just efficiency, working quickly. It's definitely not doing a rush job or half a job. that's sometimes called agile, when that's not true.
What is agile then, Chris?
What is agile? Well, it's a way of working, as you're alluding to, that is born out of the world of software development. It's people coming together to say, actually, the way we've been working, where we work and work and work and work and work and work and work, and then deliver something to a client, to a customer, actually isn't very good, because the client then says, oh, that's not quite what we wanted. Or, oh, we've had a change of heart since you've been working on it and working. And so actually you've got to go and undo all that work or redo all of that work. Is there a better way of working with a stakeholder?
You like the way of working, like that there's a better way of working than the way we have been working?
I genuinely believe it's a better way of working.
And why is that?
I think there's loads of benefits. Like I say, for the customer, the client, the stakeholder, the end user, I think you make better things for that person. And it's a way of working that communicates along the way that you are providing value at every step by delivering working products more frequently than right at the end.
I'm sorry I'm laughing, but you sound like an evangelist for Agile.
I am an evangelist for Agile. I've read the book.
You like delivering working products frequently.
Working products is an Agile term.
Yeah. What's a working product, Chris?
It's something that works. It's quite simple. It's a thing, an offering, a service, sometimes literally a product if you're in that kind of industry.
Piece of code.
Some
copy.
Yeah. A workshop.
A cog.
Yeah. Whatever you're making, whatever you're doing in your industry, eventually gets handed over, gets delivered.
A painting.
Yeah.
So a working product is a thing that does its job.
Yeah. Does the job.
And you like that?
I love that.
Why is that?
Things that work, that people want, make people really happy.
So if people get things that work,
they want. You go into Starbucks, you ask for what do you ask for?
Currently, because I'm trying to keep the calorie count sensible.
Yeah.
Grande Americano cold milk.
Which
sounds like Grande Americano oat milk.
So sometimes you get oat milk.
Or
no milk.
What I believe to be the vomit-inducing.
Or goat milk.
Many milks. You can milk a cow. I've never seen a nipple on an almond. It's surely an almond juice. It's an oat juice. You cannot. Jus d'almond. It cannot be a milk. Coconut milk.
That's not a milk either, is it? You don't milk
juice.
Did you milk the coconut? Yeah, juice.
But yeah, so my working product is an Americano with cold milk.
Right, that's your working product. When you get that product, or even before that, you see the staff working along. You're standing on the end of the counter. It's working its way along. You see some of the progress.
Yeah.
You see them write your name on it.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Great.
Yeah, it feels good.
I know it's coming along.
Yeah. And then when you get the product, the coffee you wanted.
Happy as Larry.
Exactly. Happy days.
Really happy. Yeah,
so it would be great if it all worked like that.
So there's something you're saying, the transparency but it's also the transparency of what's happening. It's not that someone that makes an agreement, they're going to deliver something and then black box, they get it. But there's when you go to like a chocolate factory or something, you can see through the glass. I'm thinking when I went to the Leica factory where they make the cameras and there's a tour and there's glass. It's obviously a controlled environment, not really allowed in. But you can see them making things. So some level of transparency on the making process.
Yeah. Yeah, in the UK we have Cadbury World where you can see the chocolatiers working their way through.
I should take you. I know you love cereal.
I do love cereal.
Is there a cereal world?
I don't think there is a cereal world.
Inside the Factory. Do you ever watch Inside the Factory?
I do, yeah.
Love
Inside
it.
the Factory, great show, yeah. And we're fascinated by those things because we see that sense of progress, I think.
Yeah, we can see what's being made. So, so there's a level of transparency.
Yeah.
Why else do you so like Agile, Mr. Agile Evangelist?
I think it's more fun as well.
More fun?
Yeah.
For who?
The person working.
The worker.
Person creating the product. I think it's a more enjoyable way to work.
Why is that?
Well, I think if you think about that waterfall approach, which is that traditional work, deliver, it's demoralizing, demotivating if that thing isn't right or you didn't have help along the way to iterate it, make it better. You're not really satisfied maybe with what you've done. Even if you don't get the negative feedback, you might just get working product done, shipped. But if you've worked in that way that isn't iterative,
if there's some
it's not massively satisfying.
If there's some dispute at the end about whether the working product's actually good enough or not, for example.
Yeah.
Well, my favourite probably piece of the whole Agile Manifesto is we welcome change requests.
Yeah.
And I just think this is a genius piece of copy because the word welcome says it all. But it's not we endure change requests. We can respond to, we
can handle,
negotiate about,
cope with,
can rework, will incorporate.
At a push, will. Yeah.
And for me, that demonstrates the kind of responsiveness. Actually, it's actually the foundations of it. Also good interpersonal and human relationships. Is, are you responsive to the other person? If your other half goes, have you got the responsiveness to say, is everything all right, dear? How are you? Busy day? What's going on? Can you respond? I think we welcome change requests. When the change comes along, instead of going, or worse, oh yeah, we can definitely do that. Yeah, and then back to the office. So the kind of that responsiveness, that's the basis of love. To be able to dance in the moment with another.
Can you actually embrace and welcome change requests, or is it just pretend?
I think that's why I like that statement, is that a bit like you, I had an epiphany when I saw it written like that. Not we can handle amends, we can implement feedback, but welcome. Welcome. Because I know what welcoming is. If you come to my house, actually I tried to get someone not to come in the other day.
You tried to not let someone into your house?
So the reverse, I was I was ready to go to bed. And as a car pulled up on the drive, tap on the window. Actually, I was watching football. But I popped out onto the driveway just to see. But it wasn't welcoming. I feel bad now, actually. Sorry, Kimberly, if you're there. But
Kimberly.
I didn't welcome them. But I know what welcoming is.
Yeah. What would the opposite have been?
Hi! Hey, come on in. Oh, no, I'll turn off the football. Come on in, watch the tea, coffee. You want to sit in the garden? Should we go for a walk? How are you? Tell me, come and sit down. Sit there. No, don't go away. Come on in. Sit there. Do you know what? I'm ordering some Uber Eats. Let me get you some lunch, or whatever.
Yeah.
That's welcoming.
Oh, yeah.
Change requests.
That would be very welcoming. So you're doing that kind of process for your change requests.
I think that's the difference of mentality that's behind the whole of Agile, which is that instead of it being a battle between two companies or a negotiation between two people or a servant and a master or a client and a customer service person, or, a cog maker and a cog user, there is the flexibility of and welcoming of it's inviting a collaboration actually. And I love collaboration. Collaboration is an activity of partners, mutual partners in an endeavor working together. And it's turning a transaction into a relationship.
Yeah.
Just by the welcome.
Yeah, I like that. The relationship. It's essential, as you say, in our friendships, marriage, with our customer, with our client. Team. Those relationships are built by welcoming things that change.
I'm having a bit of an epiphany actually. When you welcome someone, and especially when you welcome change, you're saying, I'm not expecting you to be the person you've always been, or I'm not expecting you to want what you've always wanted. Even like let's say we've done a requirements and we've listed those. I'm not even holding you to that. I accept you and I'm welcoming your input, continued input over time. Wowza. Wow. It's pretty, that Alistair Coburn guy, I must try and find him and meet him. When we post this, I'm going to tag him.
Yeah, tag him. Yeah, he's going to be tagged.
He's taggable.
Very taggable. Yeah.
He's good.
Right. The other thing about welcoming change requests is that it actually helps you improve the working product, because most people, maybe not every time, but most people are giving feedback changes with good intent to improve what you end up with. Yeah.
But I think that comes to, are you trying to learn as well? And again, one of the things, so when I first started trying to use Agile, it mainly when I was working on bigger projects, and I realized if I submit all the deliverables, let's say there's 10 deliverables and I submit them all at once, and I get the same piece of feedback on all 10, I have to implement it on all 10. If I submit one and say, can we do all the feedback on this one? I can then incorporate the learning into deliverable 2. And therefore I'll save an enormous amount of effort. And I guess that's also why the Agile community flourished, which is that it is actually, there is a greater efficiency to what they're trying to do because they're using learning this is just going to blow your mind from a learning and development agency, Chris. Learning is valuable, and they're using learning to make the work get done more effectively. Does that make any kind of sense?
It does. And it, do you know what? It doesn't blow my mind.
It should. It should.
Do we really need agile versus agility? Is there a difference there?
Agile is a thing. So it's now a methodology, and it's a process, and it's an industry. The more you do agile, I think you almost go round in a circle, and you realize that the thing that you do actually need is agility. So you can take all the principles of agile, and you can follow all the processes. You can have a Scrum master, and you can have deliverables, and you can have a daily stand up, and do all those things. Is that really is that fundamental? Is that what you need? Or is it the mental openness, the collaboration, the flexibility? And my personal opinion is that very often, and that's why the way that I've written the Agile Secret is you don't need to run all the processes of Agile. You don't have to do it that way. But as a leadership tool or as a cultural tool, it's extremely important. And in the work we do with Airbus, for example, some people in Airbus are manufacturing a plane, and it's got to be right, and it needs to be delivered on a deadline. How they cope with the changes to scope that are coming and the different needs of the customer, that's the mindset piece. That's whether they're actually flexible and open and collaborative. So if they've got, I'm sure they've got waterfall diagrams saying how to put the plane together. It's like I'm sure they've got the Lego instructions that say screw this thing here and bolt that onto there and then test this and everything else. They've got a process that's very, very robust, but have they got the agility of mindset to use the agile principles to deal with change requests and collaboration with the client and collaboration with the teams and everything else?
And Airbus managed to save a lot using agile methodology as well.
Yeah, they saved, when they built the Beluga plane, which is the one that carries the parts around Europe, they saved a ton of money from using agile methodologies. And coming back to what we spoke about earlier, I do think that by incorporating the learning at each step rather than accumulating learning at the end, there's an opportunity to improve processes and change scope. So yes, it's an effective way to do things. It is. You can also say it's kind of micromanagement by a different methodology. So if you're working in a highly agile environment where you've got daily deliverables and a daily stand-up, that's quite a managed environment. It's quite tightly controlled. So people who are writing code, software companies that are using agile, our teams that are using agile, it's pretty nailed down how, in a quite a granular way, what they need to deliver by when. So it's weird in a way, isn't it? We talk about empowerment a lot and the absence of management, but if you take away your manager, then you end up needing a process to deliver that. And it's just true of human systems, I guess. There's lots of different ways of organising, and somewhere there needs to be power and control. And if you try and delegate the power and control to others, then you end up needing a process or a set of values to make sure the thing's cohesive. Whereas if you have in an individual or an office, then maybe you don't need to have those other things.
And we've already talked about a number of different terms: Scrum Masters, Manifestos, might have even mentioned hacks. What do these terms mean? They kind of all sound like business jargon.
I love a bit. Do I love or hate jargon? I love a bit of jargon. Hate a bit of jargon. I both love and hate jargon. Yeah, I mean, so Agile has got a manifesto, which is the principles. There's daily stand-ups, which is the meeting. There's Scrum Masters, which are what we would call them facilitators sometimes, or a quarterback. They're running the process. But I don't think you need the jargon. Again, if you are running a project, is someone responsible for the process? You can call them a Scrum Master or whatever else. Do you need to have a backlog, or is it a list of tasks? Deliverables. So
the jargon, the concept is the same: a list of things to do.
Yeah. The backlog is effectively a to-do list, isn't it?
Yeah. So run me through then. What would a team organisation look like if it was using Agile?
So a team who was using Agile would have a relatively short cycle upon which they're trying to complete a set of deliverables. We could call that a sprint. They would have a list of deliverables, which we could call a backlog. and they'll have someone responsible for the process. But that's what Agile teams are trying to do. They've got a short-ish achievable list of deliverables with a short-term deadline, and they're trying to deliver those working products as frequently as possible to the client. And yeah, you would see that's the difference, is that you would see people working over shorter timeframes on specific deliverables, rather than giving people a responsibility and saying, this piece of the platform is your responsibility. You go off and take responsibility for it. It's actually a bit like when you're writing a CV. I don't know if you have that.
Yeah.
If you read a CV and it says that I was responsible for X, Y, and Z, it's very different from saying I delivered X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So if you're writing a CV, you should try and write down what you delivered.
Not what you were responsible for.
Yeah.
Because that might just be title.
Anyone can be responsible for things, can't they?
Exactly.
And I think that's a focusing towards productivity rather than responsibility.
Okay. Really interesting. And we often talk about, we mention hacks, and we talk about hacks, and we work in hacks at interactive workshops. What is a hack?
Well, a hack is can I say bastardization?
I think you can, yeah.
Of Agile process. But I found that people like doing their work together as well as alone. So when we run a hack, whether for us or for a client, we have a Scrum Master or facilitator that has a set of deliverables that group of people is going to get done that day. Those deliverables are clearly defined with a specification, which I like to be very clear about what that is, so that the work doesn't expand. And then we work to a set of sprints during the day to get those deliverables done, and no one goes home until all the work's finished. So we've got an incentive to be effective.
It's quite a good incentive, isn't it?
It's yeah. And I like it. I mean, you can't work like that every day.
No.
But actually, I say that, if you work in casualty, you effectively work like that every day. You've got a backlog of patients.
Yeah.
And you've got to keep working until it's all done.
Yeah.
One by one. And you're trying to prioritize with triage which things have to be focused on first.
Yeah.
So there's lots of analogous jobs that have that kind of process.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you've supported a number of leaders and teams in creating agile cultures, agile ways of working. What are the ones you remember?
Some of the most fun projects we've done have been to do with Agile. I think when I first started putting it to our leadership development, that really had a transformative effect on how people thought about work, because quite a lot of the Agile process is upside down. And especially, we were talking about working products, and we're talking about welcoming change requests. And lots of changes of mindset about what you're trying to do, thinking about your client as collaborator and colleague rather than as someone that you're trying to service. Thinking about a working product rather than trying to do the best job you can do. But where we work with Savills, for example, to help them on their project management of surveying buildings and delivering a report, that's really fun project, the leadership development work. And I've loved the work we've done where we've written books and created things with teams in an agile way to demonstrate the process to them. And I love their delight. And then I love their bafflement, actually, at the end of a workshop with us where we've used Agile to create something together, and they cannot understand how they've got so much done. Yeah. But you've done that as well.
I've taken part in those workshops. It is a pleasure. And I've had people come up to me afterwards and say, how did you do that? As if it was some kind of magic trick.
Yeah.
Like, they want to know the secret. How did you just unlock that amount of productivity or that amount of words or a book from a morning? How did you do it?
How can you get that much volume? But it shows, doesn't it, that people aren't focused on working products.
No.
And if we go into organizations as we do and look around about what are people doing all day? Are they focused on delivering a working product? They're actually not. They're having we've had a few meetings today. Yeah. What was the working product from those?
Probably didn't have any working products from those.
They didn't.
Some of them were just conversations.
Some of them are planning, strategy,
of them are useful.
HR. Yeah. None of those are working products,
Not focused on working products.
No. And then another planning meeting, and then a monthly meeting, and then a weekly meeting. So
there's no secret. It's not a magic trick.
It's not really a magic trick.
It's just a focus.
It's a focus.
Yeah.
Let's look in my email. So I could sit down and do an hour of emails, then go into Slack, sit down to do all my Slack messages. Any working products so far?
Nope.
So maybe the ruthless honesty is also what's really appealing about Agile, which is deliver working products. Yeah. And I like to just prioritize that over all the other things, where I think many people in the world of work, they've got all the stuff they've got in their diaries and everything else first, and then maybe some time for a working product afterwards.
And what's the value of responsiveness within Agile?
We talked about that a little bit before, didn't we? But welcoming change requests. But again, it changes the relationship between a client and the person doing the work for them, or a manager and a boss. If you're managing upwards and your boss suggests a change to you, say, Chris, I'd really like it if you could do more of this or less of that. I mean, how defensive do you want to be to your boss?
Not very.
But if you say, oh, thank you so much, that's great.
Might sound
really
sarcastic.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'd really like to get this right. So can you tell me more about exactly what you'd like me to change? And I'd really be interested to go working on that. In fact, I probably can't even do it by myself. Could you work with me on it? Because you obviously seem to know exactly what you want from me. And I'm still developing. I'm really keen to get this right. So that responsiveness, that's just that put into a working process where we're trying to adapt to what the other person wants. We're asking to be honest. And the mistake is it's also not being challenging. It's also it's not saying yes when you mean no, but it's exploring what exactly the person wants done differently.
Yeah. What about beyond the work context? Can we be more agile in life?
It's a good point, isn't it? What do you think? Are you trying to take agility into your out of work private life?
I think there are principles there that we can take. Like you said, the responsiveness, that's going to impact any relationship, and that ability to react to change in a positive way would help a marriage, for example.
Yeah. I'm actually thinking about my mother-in-law as a grandma and my mum. When my kids ask their grandparents for stuff, their pet grandparents go, do you know what? Yeah, I could do that. Shall we? Of course I can help you. And yet often when parents are asked by the kids, can you help me with that? What about this? Can I stay
help
up?
with the homework? Or can I stay up?
Actually, can you just get on with it, please? So yeah, I think that if you're in a good place and you want to build collaboration, being responsive like that, I'm just shutting my eyes now thinking about my daughter and trying to be a yes person to their requests really helps me.
Yeah.
Not trying to be in a contractual relationship with my kids or Steph or my friends.
I've got a 1-year-old who I've said previously calls the shots around our house, and there are a lot of change requests with the toddler. A lot of change requests.
Yeah. What kind of change requests?
Well, you just sit down. It's like, go, shoes, coat. It's like, oh, we're going out, are we? Okay.
Yeah. So, do you try and respond to those?
Yeah. Sometimes.
You can't all the time.
You can't just go with the whimsical wants of a toddler all the time. But I do think you can sometimes go with those. And it's similar with client relationships, isn't it? Like you sometimes find it difficult to go with everything a client wants all the time. That probably wouldn't be a good thing. But sometimes you just completely go with what the client wants, even if you think it's probably not the best way of going about it.
Yeah, it's actually a concept in coaching, the nature of going with. Can you join someone and go with them? Yes, I think so. That agility, if you take it outside of work into actually when I'm driving, I take it when I'm driving. Someone cuts in front of me, I can go with that, no problem.
Can you go with that? No road rage.
I think road rage is a choice. I take it when I'm traveling. The plane's late, I can go with that.
You have a relentlessly positive attitude towards travel.
I try to imagine what's going on in the head of the other people involved. So if someone cuts in front of me, I try and think what's going on in their life. It might have been an inadvertent mistake. They might be in a hurry. They're probably in a hurry. They might be late for something. They could be driving with a really aggressive passenger in their seat that's telling them they're driving wrong. There's a lot of reasons.
The worst day of their life.
They may consider themselves more important than me, and they maybe wanted to get somewhere, but I can go with that. It's not going to cost me anything to say, please go ahead, with the exception when someone tried to kill me on my bike. Deliberately. Yeah.
Tried to wipe you out.
They got annoyed with me and tried to knock me off my bike. That I couldn't go with. But if a plane company can't get me a plane and I have to stay in a hotel for a night or wait in an airport, I can go with that. If a friend lets me down, I can go with that. If my football team loses, why not? They're trying their best. So
there's an agility there.
Yeah, I think the agility can span out into a kind of set of values or an attitude or posture to the world that isn't in any way non-assertive, but is gracious and able to go along with what's happening with other people.
Yeah, because I'd say you're very competitive and very direct at times, but also you're very accommodating to those kind of things.
I may need help. Maybe I need to see a therapist, Chris. But yeah, I don't think it's also...
It's interesting, though, isn't it, that you can balance those things.
That it shouldn't diminish your agency in the world. Human beings are incredible ideas, delivering machines where we can make things, we can do things. So I'm not diminishing my own agency. The question is, can I go with other people's things when they need? Mostly the answer is yes. Yeah. Sometimes the answer is no. And that the old adage in life, the people you love the most, the more often it's no.
The people you love the most, the more often it's no.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you're harder with the people that are in your inner circle if they let you down or something than, let's say, man in the street lets me down. I don't care.
No.
If Biff best friend lets me down,
you might have a go at them.
Okay, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
But the idea, the people that I look up to have this really generous mindset, and I try. I really do try it, and I'm not. The closer it gets to me, the worse I am at it. But I try to go along with it, and to, especially with children or other things. Yeah, I'm trying to do that and to get them to believe in their own agency in the world as well, that they can be movers and shakers and they can make things happen. Yeah,
that's exactly it. That's what the response.
What you want for your toddler?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why sometimes we leave the house. We put our coat
on.
Yeah,
coat on.
Coat on. Coat. We go for a walk. Because she's leading the way. She wants to do something.
Kids like to go out.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. We did that on the weekend.
But clients also like to change the specification of something or change the deadline.
Exactly.
Can we go with it? Sometimes we can't, but if we can, why not?
Why not?
Chris, I don't know, has time flown or is this...
Time has absolutely flown. This has been fun. We could talk about this topic for hours. We probably shouldn't for the purposes of the algorithm. I don't think a 7-hour Agile workshop, Agile podcast would be good for the algorithm or reflective of Agile and its principles.
But is it a working product?
Possibly.
I hope it is.
If people stop listening, I think it stops being a working product. So we should probably wrap up. Do you want to briefly, before we do, tell us about how we're working with teams to help them be more agile?
I think I mentioned quite a few areas, but the one that's probably worth dialing up today is to think about, we actually do work hands-on with teams to adjust their workflow. And we've been joking around about being more productive and how you could turn meetings and emailing into a team that's actually working on the deliverables first. We talked about Scrum Masters and facilitators and how having people that know what they're doing with that can really help. We don't need to be there forever, but there's been some brilliant projects that we've done with some of the world's biggest organizations to help them to shape the operating rhythms of their team, the processes that they operate as a team. And we can do that with anybody who would like us to come in and help them to become more agile. And also on the mentality side, if it's really that you're looking for, greater flexibility and less of a kind of contractual mindset, less transactional, more relational, we can definitely help. And anyone, of course, that is frustrated with people who cut them up, we have executive coaching. So
purely for that purpose.
Yeah, if someone's cut in on your career and it's made you angry, or if someone's let you down and it's made you frustrated, then working through it with a coach, it's bookable on the website, live link to the calendar.
There you go.
You have an appointment.
Interactiveworkshops.com.
Definitely.
Thank you, Jonna. See you next time.
Thank you, Chris. See you again.
Loved it. Thanks for watching this video by Interactive Workshops. Give it a like down below and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video. Click through to here or here to watch another video by Interactive Workshops.